Today's story is Truman's Ant Farm by Jama Kim Radigan and illustrated by G. Brian Karras. At 11 o'clock, a package arrived for Truman. It was a birthday present from Aunt Fran. Truman looked at the box. It was not moving. He gently picked it up. It felt empty. He turned it over, and then he smelled it. Presents from Aunt Fran had to be handled very carefully. Truman opened the box. It was empty. No, there were two cards. The yellow one said, "Happy birthday, dear Truman. I'm giving you an ant farm you love. Love, your charming Aunt Fran." And the green one said, "Mail this card right away to receive your free ants. Watch them work, watch them play, watch them eat. Live ants." Truman mailed his card right away, and oh boy, live ants for his very own. But he did not get ants. He got ants. It was true, there were ants everywhere. They loved Truman and made such a fuss. "Oh my, how you've grown," said Aunt Lulu. "Isn't he handsome?" said Aunt Jody. "Looks just like me," said Aunt Ramona. And they hugged him and they patted his head and they pinched his cheeks and they talked his ears off. "Dear charming Aunt Fran, thank you for my birthday present. I have 50-something ants at my house now. More are arriving daily. What shall I do? Love, your bug-loving nephew, Truman. P.S. What should I feed the ants?" Truman looked out his front window. A long line of ants was waiting to get in. They brought their knitting and the homemade banana bread and gave Truman more than 100-something gift subscriptions to the children's magazines. "Help!" yelled Truman. "Letter for you!" cried the postman. "My dear Truman, I'm glad you like your present. Don't let those ants bug you. Do you have any friends who would like some? Love, your clever Aunt Fran." Feed the ants ant food. Since they were his ants, he wanted them to be good ants. What was the best ant food? It was not coffee. The ants stayed up all night. And it was not alphabet soup. The ants talked too much. And it was certainly not chocolate. The ants kissed him all the time. So Truman fed them rice pudding for breakfast, jelly sandwiches for lunch, and little hot dogs for supper. Every morning, all the ants lined up for inspection. Truman walked up and down the ranks. He looked over each ant from head to toe. They were ready to get to work. And the ants got water and sun and fresh air. They blew bubbles, flew kites, and found birds' nests. Aunt Amy could even do backflips with her eyes closed. The ants were strong and happy, and they were charming and clever. They slept, played, sang, danced, and talked just enough. "Dear Aunt Fran, I have around 200-something ants now, and I love them all. More ants keep coming and coming. They are the best in the world. Love, your ant-loving nephew, Truman." Yes, they were very good ants, but they weren't really his ants, and he was running out of room. Could he give them away? Who might want them? Truman put up a sign. "Truman's Ant Farm. Live ants. Watch them work. Watch them play. Watch them eat. Free to good homes." Truman looked out his front window again. A long, long line of boys and girls were waiting to get in. "I want a funny one," said one girl. "One who knows jokes and stories." "I want an ant to do cartwheels," said a little boy, "and not cry if she falls down and gets dirty." "Make mine lumpy and soft, a good cuddler," said another boy. Truman let all the boys and girls in. They looked over the ants from head to toe. They watched the ants work and play. They watched the ants eat. And the ants could tickle, tell stories, do headstands, and roller skate. And when the children talked, the ants really listened. They didn't pat heads, pinch cheeks, or talk ears off, but they still hugged. Soon each child found just the right ant. "Goodbye, dear Truman," called the ants. "Thanks for a tiptoe game." Truman was sad to see the ants go. He watched them tiptoe away. He was glad those boys and girls got their own ants, but something was missing. And at 11 o'clock the next day, another package arrived. Truman looked at the box. It was moving. He tried to pick it up. It was too heavy. He smelled it. It smelled like roses. Carefully, he opened the lid. Out jumped Aunt Fran! Surprise! She gave Truman a big hug. "But where are your other ants?" she said. "I wanted to see them." "Oh, Aunt Fran, the ants are gone. They have their own nieces and nephews now." Aunt Fran put her arm around Truman. He saw the twinkle in her eye. "You did a wonderful thing," said Aunt Fran. "Let's go celebrate your birthday." Truman had his very own Aunt Fran shared a special day. They had rice pudding for breakfast, jelly sandwiches for lunch, and little hot dogs for supper. And they even had a tickle contest. But they were too full to do headstands.